Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of my house art tour. This one is a special one because though you don't know it, though you barely perceive it, you have a beautiful artist in the forest who is enriching our environment just by being alive and all of the things she's done. And her name is Maureen Walton. And she belongs to us just like, she belongs to this part of the land. She lives in Lonsdale, which is near Tyendinaga, just down the road from the Tyendinaga Mohawk territory. And she's an incredible woman. And as sort of being in her environs, we are mystically touched by her. First of all, she does a lot of murals in our schools and other buildings. So even in Kingston, there are murals by her, and we're so lucky to have her. She's also a mystic woman, and she has a lot of great feminist ideas. And who doesn't like a lovely feminist idea to snack on? And so she's got a lot of them. And the reason that, okay, so let's start at the beginning. I don't remember if it was me who contacted Maureen first to visit her, or if she contacted me, but I think it was me who contacted her because I love interesting people. And I love personality, and I love interesting thinkers. So I heard about her. She was doing workshops on her property, which is called Wyldwood Sojourn, and it's a beautiful wooded property in Lonsdale. And she's been on that property for many years, and she's built a beautiful home, and she also has an Airbnb yurt on the property and a communal yurt for a ceremony. And she's like a center for women's mysteries, basically, and as a mystic and an artist. But she's retired as an artist. She's not doing murals anymore, but she's done a lot of murals in the Tyendinaga territory and around there and in Kingston and other places. She's an incredible artist, but she does devote her art now to her mystical pursuits and women's mysteries and her identity as a feminist mystic. So exciting to have someone like this in our midst. She's quite a treasure. And so I think it was 2000, it wasn't 19 something, although I'm old enough to refer to the 1990s and 80s. But anyway, it was 2016, 15 or 16, and one of us contacted the other, and she invited me to come out to Lonsdale to visit her. And I had a friend at the time who kind of was interested in mysticism and astrology and tarot and things like that, and I'd done her chart, so we were going out to visit Maureen, but things kept falling through and it wasn't the right time. And finally I was planning to go in May, I was planning to go in August, and I didn't go. But she has periodic events because she holds new moon ceremonies at her property. So anyway, I was going to try to do it on one of these new moons because I was born on a new moon and I really like the new moon energy. Anyway, so she is asking me to come out, and finally, after not coming out in May, not coming out in August, I thought, oh, I'll come out on the winter solstice. I don't care, even though the property is probably the most beautiful in May and the most beautiful in August, you know. But I went out in the middle of the night on the winter solstice, so it was the 21st of December, and I'd rented a car because there was really no other way to do it, I guess, because I couldn't. My friend was busy, so anyway, I rented a car and I drove out there. And right now, with my profession, I know what I'm doing on the road. I can find any place. I'm pretty good with all of that sort of thing. But at the time, I was lost and it was raining. And I'd stopped a couple of times for directions to get there. And now I realize it wasn't that difficult to find. But for me, it was sort of difficult, and it was raining, and it just felt like everything I did was kind of wrong. And finally, I made it there a lot later in time than I thought. Like I thought I would arrive. You know, I told her that I would arrive a lot sooner, but I was late. And I was late the whole time. Like I was late, not going in May, not going in August. I was late, late, and I was late that day too. And when I finally got there, it felt like a miracle because it was like the most obvious road, and I just took it and it was there. I'd given up completely. So I rolled in and it felt like a miracle that I found the place. And I approached the little house. It's so beautiful. I mean, it's a big house. And it's beautiful. On the inside, Maureen, just years and years of beautiful murals that she's applied to the walls, all women's mysteries and goddess imagery and things like that. Just the most beautiful place you've ever been to. There's a beautiful two-story room on the inside that has a balcony on the outside and then a ceremonial space upstairs. Just the most beautiful place with murals everywhere and goddess imagery and the womb and all of this. Just gorgeous. And she gave me tea, and there were two other people there, and I was so excited to meet Maureen. She is an extremely beautiful woman, like very beautiful. She has this elfin, beautiful energy, a voice like a bell. She's just gorgeous, and like a violet energy, just gorgeous. So I was happy to meet her, and she welcomed me and she gave me tea, and we all sat around her wood-burning fire and this cozy, beautiful, just beautiful space. And I burned and burned about astrology, and she burned and burned and burned about the goddess and the mysteries and her projects with the women's mysteries, which are to do with the womb and womb magic and womb technology. So really good. And so we enjoyed ourselves so much. And then we went out to the driving rain. I mean, her property is beautiful. I couldn't see any of it. Like I was so late. And she just put on her flashlight and we walked down to the yurt and we had a beautiful new moon ceremony in the pitch darkness in her beautiful yurt. And there were Airbnbers there when we were there, and they were lovely. And we had a great time, and we told stories, and we talked, and we did everything. And she was telling me how there were bears in the area, and how a bear had taken some honeycomb off of a tree just next to the yurt we were in. So that was good to think about the bears, but probably just black bears who are afraid of humans anyway most of the time, I think. Wouldn't come near us if we were talking and things like that. Probably. Anyway, so So it was a wonderful night that I'll never forget. And then I got back in my car and I left and I came back in the rain to Kingston. And before I left, though, I made a point of the only thing I was thinking about the whole time was I need to get this person's birth information and check out her chart. And so I got her birth information. It turns out she's born on May 12th. I was born on May 13th. So so I took her birth information and, I couldn't wait. I think I got home and went right into it and did a little complimentary small reading for her to begin, like just a wealth reading or something, just a very cursory reading of her chart, and sent it to her. And then later she commissioned me to do a full reading of her chart, and I was able to take a really good look at it. I did I think an 81-page analysis of her chart. Incredible. Like, okay, I know most of you are not astrologers, or maybe even not even into astrology, but as an astrologer, I've seen many charts, and some people have a triangle, an equilateral triangle. Some people might have two. Some people might have a rectangle or a square or something. Maureen had something like 18 equilateral triangles, and they were all sort of overlaid in this position, and then she had some pointing up and some pointing down, and she had many rectangles. I can't even remember. Anyway, it was mind-blowing. Clearly, the stars were, like when you have when you have geometric things going on, what it is the planets are pulling equally in a way, like it's like everything's balanced. You know what I mean? Like an equilateral triangle. If you think of it as magnets, it's keeping sort of a balance because you have all of these things equidistant from each other that are like centering what it's focused on. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of focus there. And there's a lot of feeling of purpose and all of this. So it was really fun for me to do. And so I finally delivered that, I think maybe a year later or something, because it was a big project. And when I was there, she was telling me about all of the things that she had been doing, like all of the womb technology and mysteries that she was exploring, and all of her friends who were coming to do workshops. And so I have some of the things from the work. First of all, she made me a portrait of myself, which is the main piece of art here. I have a few different printouts of this, but she sent it to me. She has the original. But this is a portrait of me by Maureen. And you can see how good she is, just a really good draftsman. Maureen, she was technically trained in Toronto. She had a commercial artist job for many, many years. She worked for many companies. She was a graphic artist for commercial purposes, and she just has the most amazing hand. She's very fast. Her murals are incredible. She just has technically an extremely seasoned hand, and it's almost supernatural how good and fast she is. And I asked her about it, and she said that it was just natural from the technique that she's been trained to have and everything, which I guess is a reasonable explanation, but I think it's magic. Anyway, so she made me this beautiful portrait, which I really love, and I have a few different versions of it in my house. And it's me with a crow. anyway, so I'm really pleased to know Maureen and to have sort of a conversation with her still going. I'll tell you a little bit about the different workshops that she has at her, that she's had, so that it kind of sets up her book project, which I've endorsed with a little blurb. And so the first, I have some flyers that she gave me, which she designed, of course, being a graphic artist. And so the first one, you can kind of get to know a little bit about her circle of friends. Oh, first of all, she knows this woman named Marguerite Rigoglioso, who is I think she lives in the States somewhere. I want to say it's California, but I'm not sure. And I want to say it's somewhere hot. Anyway, somewhere in that vicinity. And she, according to her website, is the foremost expert on womb technology and parthenogenesis. But she studies it from like a Greek perspective, European perspective, kind of. And Maureen's more studying it from a Native American perspective and an Andean perspective, sort of that sort of thing. So when they come together, of course, it's kind of explosive. And Marguerite has written many books on the priestess path. I believe she has a mystery school also, which is called the Seven Sisters Mystery School, I think. And so anyway, another person who is part of her inner circle and does workshops with her is Tara Greene, who is an astrologer also, and she's amazing. I really like Tara Greene. She has videos and things, and so let me just read to you so that you know. So, Maureen Walton, owner and artist of Wyldwood Sojourn, welcomes astrologer, dream worker, and tarot reader Tara Greene, and her workshop was called Remembering Our Priestess Path, Honoring Our Inner Masculine and Feminine During the Beltane Full Moon. We will engage in releasing ceremonies in nature using elements and slowly shift to gathering and gestating rituals in the silent darkness of the Moon Lodge, followed by drumming, sounding, dancing around the bonfire, astrology, meditation, art making, lecture, circle work, and dream work. And this is an entire weekend of activities. So that was, I don't know I probably got these in 2016 when I visited Maureen, but she's still having workshops also. And here's another one. This is a workshop, an all-weekend workshop by Emmanuelle Vandendrieche. And she is a trained tantric priestess from Mexico, and it's called Into the Sacred Womb, a female tantric retreat. By embracing the divine darkness of our wombs, we find we are creatures who can create anything. All is possible. Welcome to Wyldwood, and we will work with ecstatic breathing, consciousness, touch, and energy flow using ancient and contemporary methods. Open to all women, we will work with healing and releasing and creating space together in beauty. And that was actually in December, on 2 wooded acres in the deep of winter, a time for gestating and inner work, inspiring, nurturing spaces offered to support your healing. So that's Emmanuelle. She's from Mexico. I heard about her, and she sounds pretty incredible. This is a one-day thing that was going on, a sound bath, a sound journey. Welcome to Wyldwood, a winter solstice celebration, and it was Friday, December 22nd. So it was the day after, maybe it was the day after I was there, but it could have been the year before, and she just gave this to me to show me what she was up to. So that would be Singing Bowls and Crystal Bowls. And then we have Karen Holmes, who is also a mystic. Iberian Mysteries, A Path of Earth Healing, Cup of Wisdom, and Wyldwood Sojourn, Womb Spirituality of the Peacemakers. And so this is sort of a Native American, like telling stories about Native American lore, and Jigonsawe, and who is a personage in Native lore and history. The transatlantic wisdom bearers on a journey to reclaim the universal spirit language and nurture the spiritual gifts of children. And Karen Holmes is a teacher. And your guide is Karen Holmes, Bachelor of Education, musician, researcher, and spiritual director. And she's a lovely woman, Karen Holmes. So that's another workshop that they did. Anyway, so all of these things were floating around in my head. I was, so excited about having this beautiful introduction and sort of this wonderful conversation with Maureen that continues to go on now. And she is in the process of writing down, now that she's retired, her mystical experiences with women's mysteries and the womb, which is her main concern, womb mysteries, womb magic. And she's dedicated her art to sort of doing this. I'll show you some of her work in that vein, and you can see how technically great she is. Okay. So first of all, I was seeing this image in her house with the woman's body, and then the womb energy, which is centered here, and this idea of a cup, and this idea of fire coming from the heart, and the united energies of the heart and the womb coming together. And interestingly, those two triangles are what I saw on her chart. And one of them was clearly a fire triangle. One of them was clearly a water triangle. So it was a very interesting, mystical coincidence to me. And it was very meaningful to me to interpret her chart because of that. And so this is kind of an image I kept seeing. It was like on the walls of her, like I kept seeing it everywhere, which is funny. So it clicked with me when I was looking at her chart later. And so we have a woman here, and like this womb, a Taurus that brings in womb energy, and the different chakras working together, and this feeling of empowerment, and the womb connecting with the heart, and this mystical energy coming in conception and things like that. And then we have this other picture, which is the heart and the womb coming, or the heart and the womb coming together to create this beautiful energy, this powerful energy. And so her new book that she's written is called The Good Darkness, Natural Womb Technologies by Maureen Walton O'Brien. And she's raising money through a Kickstarter, which I'll leave in the description below, along with her website. But anyway, it's Incan inspired, but also the stories of Native lore, because the Peacemaker, who is a very big historical figure in almost every North American, I think every North American tribe, legendarily has his birthplace in Tyendinaga, which is right down the road from Lonsdale, where she is. And she was commissioned to do a mural about the peacemaker, and apparently, according to historical lore, that is a virgin birth, and the birth of his mother was also a virgin birth. And so she was investigating that, and she went to a lot of different tribes to find more information about him and his mother, and Jigonsase, who was also a friend of his who helped. What Jigonsase did was she created a peace, like there was a lot of war going on between the tribes, and she created a place where people could stop and they could stay for free, and she would feed them, but they had to live with each other in peace in order to have her hospitality. So, and she built this peaceful settlement on 2 war roads. So that gave them the opportunity to talk to the different tribes and have the different tribes talk to one another. But anyway, I digress. So there's a history of virgin birth in Native American culture, and she was investigating that through her mural, and she also met up with all of these other thinkers who were thinking about women's mysteries, and she is a mystic, so she had mystical thoughts about what's going on in conception, how that the womb operates, and things like that. And that's why she's written this book and all of her thoughts down about parthenogenesis, which Marguerite also writes about, like virgin birth, which is also something that Marguerite studies from a European perspective, and so on. And so there's a lot of talking going on here with the different women. And so the Kickstarter is under The Good Dark. I have a little endorsement of the book also, which Maureen asked me to do. And so I think it's, if this is your cup of tea, it's beautiful. But, I mean, there's so much about Maureen that's incredible. Like, her art is everywhere. If you're a teacher, particularly, if you were a substitute teacher, kind of in the Tyendinaga territory, or you were going around the schools, you'd probably see a lot of her art. And so keep an eye out for it. And I felt it very empowering to think about the womb the way she does, like a blood mastery of like meditations on conception, meditations on sort of manifestation, using the energy that's naturally in my body and things like that. It's great. And she says even men have womb chakras and they can use it to manifest things. So it's really, everyone is able to do this according to her thinking, which is really fun because it's very inclusive. Anyway, I always like to hear about interesting people in my midst. And this is someone who's local, and, she's a very wonderful woman in all kinds of ways. And she has an Airbnb on a beautiful property. Anyway, I feel like I'm forgetting something. A fundraiser for a book. And workshops. She's got workshops, people coming in for workshops all the time. And if you're witchy, She's got new moon ceremonies, which are really fun and wonderful. She's also probably got other ceremonies too, if you're interested. But anyway, everyone's on their own beautiful journey, and some people are really into this stuff. So I just wanted to do a beautiful tribute for Maureen and endorse her lovely book, The Good Darkness, and endorse her as just an awesome person to know. And I hope that you guys have a wonderful day. And all of the ladies that I talked about, Karen Holmes, Marguerite Rigoglioso, Greene, all of these ladies, Emmanuelle Vandendrieche. You know, these are all people that you could look up and learn about. Anyway, I find that there's a lot of stuff that people don't know about that's available even in your immediate area. You know, if you look around, there is a lot going on that isn't sort of mainstream. And so it's sort of fun. And I love female empowerment, and I'm a huge feminist, and so Maureen and I got along so well. And I'm very mystical and witchy and so on, so my cup of tea. Anyway, thank you very much for watching this great video about our great treasure, Maureen Walton. And I am going to have another video probably soon about this project that I'm doing, Caring for the Cow, which is a poem that I'm writing. And other than that, I guess I gotta go to work. So I'm on my way. And a lot of love to you guys. And a lot of love to Maureen. Thank you so much for being so awesome and for being you. And for providing such food for thought for everybody. Anyway, I'll talk to you later, and I hope you have a good day.